Hi, it's Ashleigh from Sweet Dreams Bake Shop, and welcome back to my channel where I make a lot of cake and cookie decorating tutorials as well as give a lot of baking business tips. And this is part 4 in my buttercream series. If you've ever wondered whether you're using the right buttercream or which buttercream is correct for your project, then you've come to the right place. So all of the videos are set up the exact same way so that you can easily decide if this buttercream is for you. So let's get right on into it and talk about the usability as well as the pros and cons of this royal icing buttercream. So truthfully, I've only ever made royal icing or buttercream. I've never combined the two. And this is very similar to an American buttercream. The only difference is that we add in some meringue powder. So this does not use pasteurized egg whites or anything like that. The pro of this is that it's incredibly easy to make, and you're also using ingredients that don't go bad very easily, so it's going to last you a long time. One con is that it does take a while for it to come together, but I do have a little trick to get that to go a little bit faster, which I'll show you later on in the video. Another con about this is that the hold isn't quite there the way it was for me for other types of buttercreams that I've tried out and that I utilize frequently. That being said, you can increase the hold of this buttercream, but again, this might be a little bit of a con for you. Usually with something like a Swiss meringue buttercream or Italian meringue buttercream, if you follow the recipe as is, you're going to end up with the same hold almost every single time. With this, I find because it's such simple ingredients coming together, you do have to mess around a little bit with the butter content and the water. This buttercream does have its merits though, so I hope you continue watching. The taste of this is very interesting. I expected it to mimic that of American buttercream because essentially everything about this is the same as American buttercream with the exception of the addition of the meringue powder. It's actually kind of a mix between an American buttercream and a Swiss meringue buttercream. Not quite as smooth as a Swiss meringue buttercream, but what I mean by it's less American and a little bit more Swiss is that it's less sweet. And of course, I know that in my family, that's what they're looking for. So if you need a quick alternative to a Swiss meringue buttercream and you don't want to go with faux or traditional, this might be the one for you. Now let's talk about the performance of this buttercream. So as I mentioned, it's kind of more like a Swiss meringue buttercream, which means that it doesn't crust up in the fridge like an American buttercream. The texture of this is also quite soft. I'm sure if I added more icing sugar and a little bit more butter, it would increase the hold, but that would affect the taste. And I personally liked how it wasn't as sweet or as buttery as some other buttercreams that I've had before, so I just left it. Now that being said, it does create a very billowy, soft buttercream. So you can get these roses out of it, but they're not the firmest roses, and I also find that things look a little bit mushy. They don't quite look as clean and crisp as when I made the faux Swiss meringue buttercream if you want to check that out in the right hand corner. Now let's get into the method of this royal icing buttercream, which is super easy, and I'm going to make it even easier for you. Like an American, it's going to start out with icing sugar or confectioner's sugar, also called powdered sugar, and then we also have some meringue powder, and we've got a lot of butter. So we're actually going to put in that whole block of butter eventually. I'm going to weigh out all of my ingredients, and by the way, I will put down in the description box below the recipe that I am referencing. Now this one really I'm just kind of referencing because I did make slight tweaks here and there, mainly because when I tried converting it was going all weird because I'm halving the recipe. So basically I ended up adding a little bit more icing sugar, but it honestly shouldn't make too much of a difference. Like I said, this is more like an American in the sense that you might have to tweak things here and there depending on the humidity, depending on how much hold that you want. Now, originally when making this, I thought I had to get it as billowy and as puffy as a traditional meringue normally gets, but I quickly realized that that probably wasn't going to happen, so I ended up just adding in the butter and then whipping it for an incredibly long time. It looked like this kind of yellow color for a while, but of course, if you continue to whip, eventually it's going to turn out this way. Now, the recipe says, I think, to whip it for about 20 to 30 minutes, which is an incredibly long time. I cut that time in half, put it over a double boiler for just a little bit, and then whip it up. And that heat allows everything to come together so much more quickly. This came together for me in about 10 minutes or so, maybe even less time than that. Let's talk about troubleshooting and storage. This buttercream is one of those buttercreams that you honestly can't mess up. That's why it's such a beginner buttercream. Even if you didn't put it on the stove, if you just kept whipping all of your ingredients together, it will come together and it will be beautiful. And what I love about this as well is it's a very white buttercream. Because we've got that meringue powder in there, it really does mimic that of a royal icing. So you get that nice white color even without adding that hint of purple. Now for storage, all I'm going to do is I'm going to place it in here, and just like all of my other buttercreams in this series, I'm going to revitalize it by putting it over a double boiler system, and then I'm going to re-whip it for my use. I would personally probably reserve using this for a cake that I'm just going to cover with buttercream and then fondant, or on cupcakes, but you can use it for whatever you want. Wouldn't highly recommend it if you're just starting out with flowers, but it can work as well. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you can be part of the Sweetie fam. Right now, I'm uploading weekly, so make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. Also, be sure to comment, request, or ask a question. I love hearing from you guys. Bye!